I loved this movie so much that I feel like I've just kind of fallen back in love with the horror genre again. So I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I liked about the movie, and I'm also going to talk about some of the things that, you know, I guess nitpicks, minor gripes, just something to be negative for the sake of negative, I guess. The first thing is actually the relationships with all the kids. Now, I've seen a lot of comparisons to that of the Goonies, but really, I felt like the relationships or the dynamics of the kids were that of Stand By Me, which is, funny enough, another Stephen King adaptation. Now, I felt like the kids were really kind of like plucked off the streets and filmed going through the motions as opposed to them acting. Now, they were funny and they were extremely crass, which, you know, when you think about it, is actually how kids talk when their parents aren't around, which was just fantastic. But I feel as though what the movie did so right where others do wrong is that I genuinely cared about the kids in the movie, therefore I didn't want them in danger, which made for a tense time in the film. Jaden Leibowitz and Finn Wolfhard were the real standouts in the movie, but more specifically, I can't believe just how much Jaden has grown as an actor compared to how I saw him in Midnight Special all the way through to this. Now, he absolutely sold the loss that he felt for Georgie, but he also had this one line of dialogue, which I won't reveal as this is non-spoiler, but it was towards the end of the movie and it was so heartbreaking, but it was 50% the script and 50% his delivery. Now, the script. Oh, you always hear me talk about scripts in movies going, yeah, it was alright, but the script was pretty bad. This script is actually so good that I actually just want to read it by itself because it's so amazing. But it's also nice how it comes full circle, seeing as though it was originally a novel. Now, the biggest for me, in terms of scares, is because I'm a cat dad and I love cats. And there's this scene involving a cat and I was actually quite vocal in the theatre. I felt exactly how people do when they're watching those sports things on TV. I mentioned Finn Wolfhard earlier, and as most people know, he's the kid from Stranger Things, but he also plays the exact opposite kind of character, so I'm actually really impressed with his range, but I'm also incredibly jealous as Finn Wolfhard is the coolest name in Hollywood. You can't even make that shit up. Bill Skarsgård in the role as Pennywise was fantastic, but I'd also like to see some B-roll footage of him just standing there eating a sandwich, just checking his phone or something, and just scaring people. I mean, this guy was absolutely terrifying, but at certain points in the movie, it almost felt like a performance artist, and I really do hope that he gets more work from this because he was absolutely terrifying. The score in this movie was fantastic as well, creating this unsettling atmosphere in the movie without being overly showy or hitting the same beats as most horror films do. And actually, come to think of it, it doesn't really feel like a horror movie at all, because every single department from editing, directing, acting, set design and music all doing this amazing job, elevating the material to the point where it almost feels like a multi-genre affair. If I could sum up the movie in 3 words, I'd say it was intense, it was honest, and it was raw. Now, not only is it a great horror movie, but it's also a great date movie, surprisingly, but it's filled with such nuanced performances from the losers, and I'd really like to see more of them, but for anyone who knows anything about it, the story, well, the next chapter in the story will take place 27 years later, and honestly, the actors replacing the kid actors in this movie have some huge shoes to fill. Now, I can't really recommend the movie enough as it's terrifying with such great pacing, genuine scares, but it also has a surprising amount of heart. So do you want to see it? With me carrying an extra 30 kilos, do you think I'll float too? Let me know in the comments below, and of course, if you like this video and want to see more, please click here to see more. Thanks for watching. Bye.